Save Texas schools! Save Texas schools!
I expect as a taxpaying citizen to make sure that my child, as well as all of the other children across the state, have the appropriate funding invested in their public education.
We're going to tighten our belt, and to tell people it's somehow or another it's all going to be blue skies and smooth sailing is not appropriate. It's not. We've got tough decisions to make. But I think the vast majority of the people in the state of Texas understand that.
Governor Rick Perry is holding tight on his no new taxes, no rating the rainy day fund vision for the state's upcoming budget as protests continue and some lawmakers start to break down on their once firm stances. New revenue sources take shape as lawmakers dig deep for hidden and innovative funding ideas. With just more than 40 days left, will they be able to solve it all without a special session? It's all ahead here next on Session 11.
From KXAN Austin News, this is Session 11, live interactive breakdowns, insights, interviews, and our weekly roundtable discussion. You're watching Session 11 on KXAN Austin News.
When we get out of this regular session, and hopefully we won't have to go into special sessions, we will be able to, the people, Texans will look at our budget, will look at this session and say that's exactly what we wanted.
Good morning. I'm Robert Hadlock. Thank you for joining us here on Session 11. That was State Representative Jim Pitts, the chief budget writer in the Texas House. Today, he speaks with us about a push to find $5 billion extra dollars. It's a move that could significantly aid an ailing $27 billion shortfall. First, our political reporter Josh Hinkle here to tell you how you can interact with us this morning on our program.
Hi, Robert. We have a lot going on our web today. You can actually we actually are talking extra funding, and our On Politics poll asks what's the best way for the state to gain non-tax revenue. Would you speed up the business tax, sell state land, or raise fees on things like professional licenses? Log on to KXAN.com and let us know what you think. And while you're there, click on the On Politics tab at the top. You'll go straight to our special political site where you can find our latest coverage and blog posts. Plus, click the blue bar at the top to chat with us this morning. We're talking about this money hunt and the state's financial crisis. In our On Politics panel, Robert and I will field your questions a little later on in the program. We've got a good panel coming up, Robert.
We do. Thank you, Josh. Now, our newsmaker is one of the most watched and influential state lawmakers this session. Jim Pitts is serving his 18th year in the Texas House. He chairs the Appropriations Committee, making him the chamber's chief budget writer. Josh sat down with the lawmaker in our studio to talk about the steps left in the financial process and ideas to find more funding.
This $5 billion you've been mentioning that you might be able to pump back into the House version of the budget. How's that going to work?
Well, we have had some committee meetings the last couple of weeks, and we're mining for gold. And what we're doing is, number one, I have a bill that has the deferral for the education, and there's some other deferrals. That'll bring a little bit over $2 billion. We have a bill that, what they call a speed-up bill, that it speeds up or prepays some franchise tax, motor fuels tax, alcohol and beverage tax, speeds that up, and that'll be over $1 billion. We have the bill that we just are getting it back from Ledge Council today, and the comptroller is helping us cost it out. But that will be over $1 billion. We're also counting the $830 million that we're getting from what a lot of people call the Doggett Amendment that was freed up at the federal government. And we have some other things. Rob Orr has a bill that we heard that could bring in about $500 million. So we have things like that. It's non-tax revenue that we are able to take advantage of.
Are we close to that $5 billion you want to get to?
We're 4.3, 4.5, and frankly, I think that's probably as far as the House is willing to go. I know the Senate is further than that, but I have met with some people in the Conservative Coalition, the Republican caucus, and if we, number one, they don't want us to put it backs of Texans as far as taxes or fees. No, there are some fees that we have built in, but nothing like was built in 2003, when over $1 billion of fees were put on that bill. Our introduced version has about $100 million of fees that the industries have come to us and say, you know, to help us market our cattle, we need to do such and such, and but we'll pay for it because we'll get that back in return so we can market our cattle all over the world. Things like that. I hope that we can get full-fledged casino gambling in Texas that would include VLTs at racetracks, which are slot machines at racetracks, that will save that industry, and then full resort-type casino, destination casino gambling. I think it's a huge economic development for Texas, and we won't have it in every corner. We won't have it in Ellison Hill County, but for Austin, it could be a huge economic benefit.
House freshmen, what is their take on everything right now? I mean, are you seeing a different opinion than when we started out?
Well, you know, I think the reality is beginning to come real, or people are realizing that we're cutting our schools, we're cutting our nursing homes, we're cutting our people that want to go to college, we're cutting their ability to go because we're taking the financial aid. I think that's beginning to be realized by a lot of the members. Now, I'm not going to say that all of the members feel that way, all the freshman members, but I think in a whole, as a whole, that they will be coming around and say that, you know, that we need to do these things. We're making major cuts. Well, even if we can bring in $4 to $5 billion of new revenue, new non-tax revenue, we'll still be making major cuts. We'll be still making $17, $20 billion worth of cuts. That's pretty major. The House does not have the stomach to use any additional money out of the rainy day fund for the next biennium.
Is that for ongoing expenses or for all expenses?
I'm saying to balance our budget for 12 and 13, I do not see the House voting to use any additional rainy day fund.
Now, when we're talking about the governor and kind of his, warning to lawmakers about using the rainy day fund, last week we had Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst on the show, and he said that he feels like maybe the governor has greater pressure or influence on House members' decisions when it comes to the rainy day fund. Is that so?
Oh, I think that some of the House members, I know I did not want to put House members to make that tough decision to use the rainy day fund without the governor saying it was okay. And that's why I worked real hard over a weekend to get some type of agreement with the governor on using the rainy day fund to pay our current bills. I'm just going to say that I think it's the philosophy of the large majority of the House to not use any of the additional rainy day fund for the next biennium, to balance the budget for the next biennium. Josh, we're going to be coming in probably the next regular session with probably a large supplemental requirement for our budget. Medicaid caseload, federal government requirements. We need to keep the large bulk of our rainy day fund to take care of those needs, and so we're going to probably have a need to pay our current bills the next biennium.
If for some reason we did use the rainy day fund for the upcoming budget, where could you see House members most likely able to think we can maybe pass this here?
I cannot, even in my wildest dream or nightmare, see how the House will ever vote to use additional money of the rainy day fund. And I will not carry any legislation to do that. And I hear that, we need to use the rainy day fund, I use the rainy day fund, and I am the first to say, did you file a bill? I filed a bill to take care of it for this current biennium. There has not been a bill filed, and cannot now because the deadline is over as far as filing legislation, unless it's tacked on to a piece of legislation as an amendment. But there is no bill filed to use any additional money out of the rainy day fund for the next biennium.
Well, their conversation continues for nearly another 30 minutes, and we have the entire thing streamed on our websites, KXAN.com and onpolitics.com. Pitts talks about the behind-the-scenes efforts to save Texas nursing homes and the emotional toll so tough decisions create. Our Newsmaker returns next here on Session 11. Keep it here.